What is up, everybody? Keith, go by Gator Guy 231 on DraftKings and FanDuel. Back for another week of college football. Last week was something, to say the least, with all the scoring issues, with taking some zeros from Armstrong and Smith. And, I hope you all did well. Personally, I thought it was going to be a disaster. And once all of the scoring got up to date, made a nice little profit. Had no idea how. I guess just getting a lot of Sam Ellinger definitely helped. But this week, looking forward to bouncing back. I will just say this. After last night's slate, there potentially is going to be more scoring issues. So you're looking down at your lineup and wondering what the hell is going on. Still sounds like there's a stats provider. FanDuel already said that they're going to be a disaster. So, tread cautiously if that tilted you too much last week. But let's jump into some picks. Just want to thank you guys once again for the support of these videos. When we started college football, I had no idea what to expect from views and feedback, and it's been very, very good. Not only the amount of views, but the feedback people have given me in Twitter DMs and things of that nature. So thank you for that. Bottom right of the screen, please, please, please hit subscribe if you are watching. If you're debating if you're going to hit subscribe, just hit it. Really, really helps FSI and all that we're doing. So please, once again, bottom right, you'll see the little subscribe button. Just click it for us. We really, really appreciate it. All right, then jump into some picks. Just, PSA and things like that. I will say this week for me was a little bit harder to make my player pool than in past weeks, not only obviously because of all the postponements. Just think that the spots are a little less clear outside of the big games, our two big totals. So if I skip anything, please, drop a comment on the YouTube page so that people can see it. I get notifications to those. I answer them right away. Would love the feedback, or if there's somebody that you think that is an awesome play that I missed, shout it out. Let's share this as a community of people that work together so we can crush these slates. All right, at quarterback, again, this is the first time watching, I'm going to go over my guys and who I really like. That does not mean if you don't hear somebody that I don't think there's a good play. This is college. We have sometimes 13 to 15 games on a slate. If I went over everything, we'd be here for, 25, 45 minutes, and it's not going to happen. All right, so at quarterback, while I think Lawrence is great, the potential blowout versus Georgia Tech is something I'm going to avoid. I think Corral is a really – other PSA, sorry. DraftKings, with all of the issues from last week, did not update the player logs. So the games from last week are not showing on the game logs. So just understand that. I don't think it really shouldn't change the process too much, but just understand that. So Corral's been nothing but short of sensational. Even versus Bama last week looked great. That Lane Kiffin offense is just rolling. So I do think he's a phenomenal play. It's just going to really be, can Arkansas and Felipe Franks keep it close? So I think Corral's great. I think, though, I'm preferring Dylan Gabriel in the highest total game of the slate. So the two highest totals, by the way, are Memphis and UCF and Arkansas versus Ole Miss. So I do think, though, that the game that I could really see staying close throughout and really shooting out is UCF and Memphis. I think Dylan Gabriel has been sensational. He and Corral, neither one of us give us huge running upside. But I do think that Gabriel just has the game environment I see more likely shooting out. UCF has not been been shy to pass at all, 41, 47, 51. Pass attempts in his first three games. I don't think there's a log missing here. But in Memphis, once again, they really can push the pace too. So I think Gabriel is probably my top quarterback on the slate. Derek King, I think, is interesting. I don't think I'll go own Brady White on the other side. So I thought long and hard about this. I think that Brady White passes the ball significantly less than Gabriel and Corral, and the price difference isn't big enough to force White. I guess if it's a piece and you're just a few hundred away, it's fine. But I do have White significantly under those two. After that, I think Kellen Mond, 7,300 versus Mississippi State, who, is a Mike Leach team, so they're going to run a ton of snaps, is very good. Felipe Franks, though, should really potentially be having to fight back versus that Ole Miss juggernaut of an offense. He had a phenomenal game versus Auburn, which is why I'm highlighting him. I effing hate Felipe Franks. I don't think when it comes down to it, I'm going to be able to click him in my lineups based on my Gator bias. But 22 of 30, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's going to run the ball a little bit too. I think he had like 12 or 15 rush attempts as well. So for 7,200 in the second highest total game on the slate, which I didn't double check before I went on. Maybe it's changed to the highest. I think he's really nice. One of the GPP plays I want to notate is Terry Wilson from Kentucky. So he's struggling passing the ball at times, but man, his rushing upside is huge. So, one of the biggest things I like anytime I get a sub 7K quarterback is to get rushing upside. So I think that he is very solid as well. Devin Leary, 6,300 for NC State versus a crappy Duke defense is fine. Bo Nix, I think, is interesting at 6,200. And then I'm trying to see if there was one more down here. I guess if you want a YOLO, Jeff Sims runs the ball pretty well, but I don't think I can play a quarterback versus that Clemson defense. I think it's a little tough. All right, going over to running back. Etienne obviously is the best pure running back on the slate, but does, once again have potential at blowout. So I think on this slate with so many options, I think I'm going to pass. Levi Brown, same deal. I'm sorry, Levi Brown. That's Oklahoma State because Letty Brown has been phenomenal for West Virginia. I think 8,200. Again, it's the same problem with Etienne. Are we going to get a blowout here? Because Kansas is just absolutely terrible. But I do think that Letty Brown could do a ton of damage, just like Etienne. So again, it's really just like, do you think they can get there in 2.5 or 3 quarters? I will say that Clemson's going to blow out Georgia Tech. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Potentially West Virginia. Could they struggle versus Kansas? I guess. Hard to see it, though. I do think that potentially for West Virginia, I'm not going to highlight him too much. I'm going to do it here. I think Sinkfield is actually really interesting to me. Even in neutral game scripts, he's been on the field tons, getting a little bit of passing work too. So I think 4,500 might be a good route versus paying all the way up to Letty Brown at 8,200. Harris for South Carolina has been phenomenal. Again, he's just in that price tier. At this point, I think I'm going to go Brown if I'm all the way up here. So what I want to do is kind of drop down. And then Williams too is phenomenal. But what I want to drop down to is this sub 7K range. Kylan Hill, I don't know how you say it. But anyhow, Mike Leach has a history of making his running backs just phenomenal, DFS receiving options. He had 15 catches last game. Hill was actually a phenomenal runner in the past year. So at some point, I feel like his rushing is going to come back a bit. The Gator running backs actually look really good versus Texas A&M. Just, Mullen didn't stick to the script. So again, guy that's getting 15, 17 targets in a game for sub 7K, I think is really interesting. Additionally, along those lines, Billy Kemp is playing a lot of slot for Virginia. He's coming off of, I think it was 15 targets as well, caught 10 passes. Last week, caught 10 passes for Clemson. So he's obviously a really good target to get receiving upside, which let's be real on DraftKings. It's becoming more and more that receivers are more valuable than running backs, especially when the running backs have a share. So that's why I really try to highlight these pass-catching backs. Otis Anderson actually has taken over the rushing duties for UCF, which is phenomenal because he also is a really, really good receiver. You wouldn't note it from here, but that used to be always his role. Phenomenal athlete. So I think getting access to him for that price in the shootout is really good. The guy I really, really like is Tank Bigsby. So he took over really a lot of the duties 2 weeks ago versus Georgia, catching 7 catches for 68 yards. Last week versus Arkansas, 20 for 146, and I think he still had 4 or 5 catches. Really seeing a lot of those looks. Look, being the top back in Gus Malzane's system is always going to be valuable. So I think at 5,900, decent matchup for South Carolina is really nice. Gibbs just going to avoid in that game. Connor's fine. Next guy I kind of wanted to highlight was Ayanna Smith. So Texas A&M is going to be out without their top receiver. Sorry, I can't remember the guy's name. He killed the Gators, and then he tore his ACL in the end zone. It was I was actually not kind of sad. It was very sad to see. But Ayanna Smith, he's the backup back to Spiller, but he does a lot more of the passing game work. And Texas A&M is going to struggle. Their receiving corps was already very, very light as it was. So I wonder, if Smith's going to get 6-7 targets, 8-9 carries, very explosive. So 5,200 versus Mississippi State, I think is really nice. I should have probably mentioned Rodriguez Clark is the number 1 back for Memphis in that shootout. Let's see who else down here. Tualapa, I think, is interesting just because Wake's not that great. Maybe Virginia gets ahead and runs the ball a bit. Just trying to recall if there's any. I think that kind of does it. There's probably some other guys down here, but I think realistically, you're probably going to pick 2 in that 5 to 7K range. Would be where I see most of my build-ups going. All right, so tons of receivers. Not going to have all the time to go over everybody I like. Moore is phenomenal. It's going to give you double-digit targets and probably double-digit catches yet again. Sean Dykes, I actually think, is a decent fade. Starting tight end for Memphis is very, very good. But up here, like, just play Shea Smith. In my opinion, just such a much better player, more explosive. We're going to have a Memphis wide receiver coming up here, so we have our access to that game. And let's just go ahead and get to him. Damonte Coxy is the biggest misprice of the slate. I thought when I opened the slate, he was going to be like 8K, and I'm still going to probably play him. Nope, he is 6,100, so he's a lock and load. In every single lineup I make, I will die with Coxy, or I should say my lineups will die with Coxy if that happens. But he should see double-digit targets, and UCF's defense has been bad. So I would just say lock Coxy into all your lineups. Just above him, I think UCF, the other big thing on this whole slate is what's going to happen with Trey Nixon. So they haven't said what his injury is. I did a little bit of like searching before I got on here. Still don't see anything about if he's playing or not. But if in, he's only 5,800. To me, he'd be a lock and load. But if he is out, let's get over to the game. Sorry. This is invigorating television, I know. I think Williams might be a little expensive. I kind of would prefer more, I think, for 400 more. But Robinson is a really nice play. Excuse me. Only had 3 of 9 targets, but you saw he got there versus Tulsa. Game before, 9 for 150. Game before that, 6 for 105. So, to get access to this game for 6,400, I think is really, really nice. Additionally, we could see Jacob Harris have another decent role too. He's only 4,300. So again, good access to that game. So watch Nixon. If he is in, I'm going to be playing Nixon almost everywhere too. Yeboah, 6,300, tight end for Mississippi, carved up Alabama. He's more like a hybrid wide receiver tight end combo. Really, really nice player. Couple more guys I do want to highlight in here. Schwartz was awesome last week, so I think that he makes a lot of sense. Jana is looking like Virginia's number 1 wide receiver, so you can definitely get access to that. All right, I thought there were – there is – where is it? I think he's 4,700. Burks for Arkansas. So, again, if we think that Mississippi's going to go up, which I would think they should, Burks in the first game of the season, 7 for 102 versus Georgia, then was injured early on. So he does appear to be one of Frank's favorite targets at 4,700 to get access to the shootout. I really like that. And then the guy I really wanted to highlight here is Jalen Weidermeier. So he's tight end for Texas A&M, one of Mon's favorite targets. So again, without their top wide receiver, I think Chase Lane and Jalen Weidermeier is going to get most of Mon's eye. And for 4,500, I just love Weidermeier. My prediction, he gets in the end zone today. I think he scored like 6 or 7 touchdowns last year. So for 4,500, I really, really like him. Brendan Galway, if you do want to get Clemson exposure, people that are sub at FSI will know that literally I think he's been in every single Clemson showdown core because he just continues to be too cheap. Probably will be in the Clemson showdown core today as well. Other than that, there's other guys down here. Do some digging. But, the biggest thing for me, get access to those big games. You should be in good shape. Thank you all once again for watching. If you were thinking about hitting that subscribe button all the way to the end, please hit it now. Once again, really appreciate it. Guys, have a great Saturday, and thank you again for watching. See you.